The Divine Comedy are a somewhat curious band from Northern Ireland. They certainly have a niche of their own. They were formed in 1989 by their lead singer, principal songwriter called Neil Hannon. There have been times in the history when it's been basically just him, and he is the linchpin. Currently has some of the members officially who are part of the band. In that time, he/they have produced 12 studio albums.
Hi, my name's Dan. So this is the fourth album by the Divine Comedy. It is basically a vehicle for Neil Hannon. I've heard at least two, maybe three of these songs before. I'm not sure that I've heard the album as a whole before. A lot of the instruments here, I say a lot of the instruments, so there's quite a few instruments that are played here by Neil Hannon. There's a drummer who's also a co-producer, but there's also a veritable orchestra. When you look at the list of actually who's played on this, there's a big list of people. Most of it is orchestral instruments, and he plays most of the band instruments. Well, I describe this as being typical Divine Comedy, but that doesn't help you if you don't know what that is. Singer-songwriter with twist, I guess. It's musically varied. It's big and lush, and at times it reminds me quite a lot of Baroque Pop, which is, I'm going to have to reference somebody, Scott Walker from the early 70s, his first few albums, but also kind of, it was the way things were going. So if you think about stuff like, I can't remember his name, Tom Jones, that's it, when he had an orchestra with him and the kind of the big production kind of in the early 70s. Those sort of big singers, big production kind of stuff. And it's a bit like that, really. And in fact, apparently he was aspiring to produce stuff that was similar to Scott Walker in some ways. There is a particular approach to chords in the music here, which is quite rich, but also quite recognisable. Well, just occasionally there's a chord where I go, oh, that chord is so Divine Comedy. Yeah, lots of kind of suspensions and interesting progressions in there. The songs here are supposedly inspired by Casanova. I don't know enough about Casanova to know how true that is. They are definitely story songs. Some of them, possibly most of them, are about romantic and fantasized encounters and sexual encounters. There's certainly a list of larger-than-life characters here, or a cast of them. The songwriting, I have to say, is superb. I mean, I do expect this of the Divine Comedy. It's evocative, it's mischievous. Somehow it's a bit like a dirty-minded P.G. Wodehouse. So it's beautifully evoked and clever. If there's anything that I would say is, possibly a criticism, or that could be leveled as a criticism, that in being the way he's being so erudite, and then I'm using a posh word, maybe he's a little showing off how well read he is. But maybe he's just really engaged with this stuff, and I think that's probably the truth. One of my favourite bits of words was in the song "The Frog Princess," which is just a couple of lines, which was, how was I to know that just one kiss could turn my frog into a cow? Which is quite evocative. He paints pictures, the vivid pictures, and the delivered. I mean, his singing's great. It's kind of a wry, suave kind of delivery. You can almost imagine that he's never able to be completely serious. But he does manage the occasional moment of pathos in here, but mostly it's just done great observational, effectively comedy music, and I love it. It's a great album with great style and great humour, and it's very enjoyable. So that's what I think, and as always, I'd love to know what you think of this album, so please do leave a comment. And that's it from me for now.
When she was just a girl, she became a woman of the world. Soon there was a